Michigan. How many of you guys ever made the drive to Michigan? Show of hands of how many of you have been to our new headquarters in Detroit? Yeah, I cannot wait. On May the 4th, we're going to have a grand opening there. For those of you who haven't been a part of ViSalus, I'm the CEO of the company. Yeah, whoever said yes, that's me. Congratulations.
No suits, please.
Yeah, no, it's a joke. So I'm the CEO of the company. I relocated from Hollywood, California, where I was born and raised. Half my family is from the West Virginia, Ohio area. My dad was in the auto industry and wound up in Detroit, so that's how I have roots there. And I made the drive. And last time I went to Canada, I got stopped at the border in strip searched. This time they just stopped me and and let me go on through. But so I'm a happy camper, just so you guys know.
Welcome to Canada!
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so it was quite an event. But nonetheless, it was a great trip. For those of you, thank you. For those of you who have the opportunity to come visit our corporate headquarters, I had no idea how close you guys are to our headquarters. It was only about an hour and a half drive, if not that. And we've built one of the world's finest corporate headquarters to support our promoters and our customers. So it's a really neat thing to see, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So I'm over the next 5 to 6 hours, I'm going to talk to you guys about how I made the decision and on carpet in the corporate headquarters, on every little detail, right? Why my desk stands this tall versus that tall. No, but I figured I'd give you guys, this is my, how many stops have I been on this Founders Tour? I think they gave me more dates. So every time I talk to Nick and Blake, they're like, we need you to do another event. So I think I'm on stop number, I got two. I got one more after tonight. So you guys are second to none, but you're second to my last event. Tomorrow night I'll be in Ottawa, so if you have friends and family in Ottawa, make sure, and you enjoy what you hear from me tonight, make sure you get them there. If you don't enjoy it, then just keep quiet and go with it. But if you have friends in Ottawa, I will be there tomorrow night, and that is my last stop on 28 cities and 35 countries. Congratulations. There's probably 500 plus people in the room here, so congratulations, you guys have I appreciate the warm welcome. I appreciate you guys taking time away from your families, away from your homes, away from your busy schedules to be here. I know how valuable time is, and so I thank you guys very much, especially you. I have a little 4-year-old boy. Last night I did a speech in Grand Rapids. And I got him to come up on stage with me for the first time. He was all shy, so believe me, we're a family-driven company, and so I love when people bring their kids with them. Speaking of which, because I've been on this tour, I've been having a lot of downtime, and I've dug up some pictures. And a lot of times people see me come up here and they go, "What does this guy know about weight loss?" Right? It doesn't look like I got much weight to lose, but truth is, once upon a time, I was a little chunky. And I brought some pictures. You guys want to see some pictures? For those of you who don't know me, don't know the company, and you thought you were going to meet some CEO who's going to sit there all seriously and break it down for you, I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes just making fun of myself. If I have your permission to do that, and then I'll spend the final 10 minutes kind of explaining our company, where we're going, our vision, and how we're going to get there. Is that okay? Yeah. All right, can we dim the lights a little bit so you guys can see some pictures? Is that possible? Oh, no, there's not. No? Oh, thank you. Excellent. All right. All right. Can you go? Let's go to the first picture. All right. Can you guys see that? All right. See this right here. This is what's called a mullet. So that's a mullet. Some of you still got them. I love you anyways, but that's a mullet. I was going to a wedding in this. Noticed a little. I was wearing my Sunday's best. This is my dad. He was an engineer. My mom, she was a homemaker. My sister Heidi. My brother Brian. That's me right there. So guys go, I used to be a nice little boy. This is my sister Stephanie and my brother Brent. Now, unfortunately, and you guys have read my book, Nothing to Lose. My dad got addicted to drugs when I was 13 years old. So this was probably when I was about 12. So about a year later, this little boy here didn't have a father. Mother, she was faced with depression, having to try to figure out how to raise 5 of us on no income whatsoever. My sister Heidi ran away at 13 and in and out of trouble. I still worry about her deeply. She's been involved in drugs her whole life, and unfortunately, she repeated the very same cycle that we hated so much growing up. My brother Brian was also in and out of trouble. He probably did 8 years cumulative in prison. Stephanie was one of those people that took it internal. You know what I mean? When like some people are external people, like I was external. I used to get in fights all the time, and as was Brian and Brent and Heidi. Stephanie was internal, and I really think that was part of the reason why she got cancer when she was only 35. Now she's in remission, but it was a tough part of our family. It was a real wake-up call for me when I was 25 when she got it, because she kind of mothered me. She was like the mother when my mom was having to figure out how to reconstruct her life when my dad left. My sister was kind of my anchor windward, so to speak. Brent, unfortunately, got in trouble for robbing a Jack in the Box when he was about 18 years old, so he did a long prison stint. And he robbed him because we had no food in the house. And that wasn't a good idea by any means. I think he ended up doing 8 years. So my family was pretty good. Have you guys ever seen that TV show on Showtime called Shameless? We make them look like the Brady Bunch. Next slide, please. Yes, please. This is the house that my mom and I had to flee into. There's an oak tree right here. It was a beautiful, 300-year-old oak tree just outside the Los Angeles area. And I remember it so vividly because it was a perfect little path for the rats to get right into that attic right there. And and we just hear them scratching at the roof all night long. It was just terrible. I'll never forget, this is the back alley. The yard didn't have a fence, really. And then this, across over here is where our park was, where there's vagrants all over the place. This is a one-bedroom shack. It was actually a converted turkey coop. And the first day we moved in, they had robbed us. So vagrants saw us unloading boxes, like we just moved in, right? We didn't know the quality of the neighborhood we were moving to. We knew it wasn't a great neighborhood because the rent was like, a couple $100s, and it was the best my mom could afford. But it was better than the situation we were in. We dropped off the boxes, all our prized possessions. I'll never forget my Walkman, my Nintendo, all my music collection, my paintball gun. I don't know why that was so important to me. And that was the first things we took, because when you're packing stuff, you always pack your favorite stuff in priority, kind of, right? So we dropped that stuff off first, and went back for the other stuff, and they got it all. It was I wrote about it in the book. It's kind of a cool story. If you go to the next slide, we had to go to a thrift store, and this was the exact furniture that we got out of the thrift store. Sometimes when people drop stuff off at the thrift store, and if they don't want it, they can't sell it, so they leave it in the back of the thrift store. So we went dumpster diving one night, and this is what we got. It's pretty cool. I have these pictures. It's a blessing. As you can see, I was really into cars. That was my decoration right there. I liked classic cars. I still do. I had a couple of them. Loved music, as you can see. Didn't love sheets very much. For some reason, I liked Pepsi. One day, Pepsi will either pay me lots of money for advertising this can, or you'll see it's like a Go Shot or ViSalus Nero box, and you're like, did he have Nero when he was 14 years old? This was a space heater to keep the place warm, and that would just be running 24 hours a day. Some reason I was really into tape. I don't know why. Tape and scissors. I guess I was constructing something. I'll never forget, my mom used to sleep here, and I slept there. And, I'll never forget wanting to move out, not having to live with my mom that close, right? Because no young male going through puberty wants to live with his mom that close. Yes, I did once upon a time go through puberty, just in case you're wondering. But yeah. Next slide. I'm still going through it. This right here is me with getting my chunky going right there. That's when I started putting on weight. I was about 240 pounds there. The reason why I always had a shaved head, and I used to say this thing, and I wrote about my book, they'd say, they'd make fun of me in school. Ryan Blair has no hair. Ryan Blair has no hair. And I always used to say it was because, I'm trying to be like Michael Jordan, but a little paler version. And I'd be like, I'm like Michael Jordan. But the reason why I wrote about it in the book is because we could never get rid of the lice in that house. Because the rats would be coming in, and there was just always lice in the house. So I had to keep my head shaved in order to take care of that. But yeah, I mean, it gives you an idea of kind of the environment. This is my grandmother now. She instilled spirituality in me. She's 98 years old. She, lives the most spiritual, righteous life. Taught me that the decisions I were making were bad decisions. That I had the power to make good choices. That God wouldn't give you the adversity He gave you if He didn't want you. If He wasn't calling you to a higher strength. I mean, just I get the chills just thinking about this because every time I couldn't handle it anymore, she was like, "This is a beautiful thing for you if you choose to receive it as such." So I kind of developed this belief system that, although I didn't understand why I lost my dad or understand why my mom suffered so much from the loss of my dad or whatever, I knew that I was supposed to learn something. And it's such an amazing thing to be able to write that story and have it become a New York Times bestseller and internationally do so well. Because, she gave me that belief that, maybe all this stuff is happening for a reason that I don't understand now, and maybe one day I will. And I believe that everything we do in life is not by coincidence. I believe you're here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. We might have some ideas as to why and what we're supposed to do with that reason, but we'll all find out in the not-so-distant future, or maybe the distant future, right? This is me with slick back hair. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking in that high school picture, right? Canelo Valley High School is what's called a continuation high school. Do you guys have alternative or continuation high schools out here?
Yeah.
What do they call them?
Alternative adult education.
What are they?
Adult education.
Adult? Adult, yeah. So we have, in Los Angeles, California, think about this, right? This is the brilliance of our public education system there. You take all the kids from all the schools, and you take the really bad kids, and then you put them in a school together. So, think about this. You got the worst criminals, guys that, it's like everybody who is avoiding prison ends up in this school so that we can learn how to finally get to prison, right? We learned there was so much entrepreneurship going on at that school. We had import, export specialists. We could tear down a car faster than Detroit could build one, that's for sure. It was an amazing experience. And I was an outsider. I was a minority in the neighborhood I lived in, so I got to observe all this stuff. It was pretty cool. I always reference in my books or some of the things that, I first, in the middle class, you don't learn about entrepreneurship. My dad was an engineer, a working man, and so, his income was dependent on his job, and he got fired a couple times before he disappeared because, and so I got to see how difficult the middle class is. When my middle class family lost its sole provider, and that happens to all kinds of families for a variety of reasons. It could be health reasons, it could be the economy, it could be a job loss, right? I saw everything I valued as a kid ripped away from me. The new clothes at school time, the presents under the Christmas tree, all the things that I pin value onto as a middle class kid were now going to sports camp, playing football, playing soccer. Well, you have to pay money to do those things. And now all of a sudden my mom didn't have the money for it. And so everything I valued was ripped away. And that happens a lot more than you think in the middle class because of the way debt works. You guys have debt in Canada, right? Yeah. Just making sure. Because of the way debt works. Do you guys have a middle class there? Because we don't have one in the U.S. anymore. Our middle class is gone for the most part. Right? I know it mirrors pretty similarly, right? But so I saw how poverty worked, and I hated it there. And then on my way kind of from poverty back into the middle class, I didn't stop there because that was a fragile ground, right? I'd seen that ripped away. And I didn't have a lot of desire to be just in the middle because that's where my family was. And so anyway, my grandmother instilled spirituality in me. By the grace of God, my mom meets this guy who's a successful real estate investor. This is 1994. So if you're familiar with the American real estate market, that was right about the time when we had an 87 crash that kind of came down, started rebuilding, and he was kind of right on the cusp of the rebuilding the real estate market. And so I got to watch him. He bought foreclosures, he would buy and sell houses, all kinds of stuff. And basically what he was a hustling individual, right? And I saw all kinds of hustlers where I lived, right? So this is just a guy who did it legally, but he would use the same attributes that you'd see anybody trying to make money. He just did it legally, lived in a very nice neighborhood, and then he had these things called philosophies and goals and values, and he would tell me about these philosophy, goals, and values. And that was the first time any man had ever talked to me about that subject. To this day, like, I teach my son values, right? He's 4 years old, and he knows the word values, right? And it's just because I didn't learn it until after I was 18 years old. Next slide, please. And these were the goals, the actual goals that he wrote down with me. Now, I'm going to tell you, I've accomplished most of them, so I'm not trying to brag, but I have made $1,000 a month. Also, I'll check this box out here. I've moved out on my own, in case you guys were wondering. Did a job to make $7 an hour. Now I know I'm dating myself here, but back in those days, minimum wage in America was like $5 an hour, and now I think it's like $6. So it hasn't gone up much. But I wanted $7, right? I wanted $7. I was ambitious. I thought I was better than everybody else. I mean, look at the ego on this goal sheet right here. I needed clothes for an interview. The neighborhood I grew up in, the tougher you looked and acted, the less fights you got into. I tattooed myself all over, and as a result, I wanted to cover up everything so I could get a job. All right, so I could go show up with this new identity. I was now going to become an entrepreneur. I had an ambition in life. I wanted to go to school because I dropped out of high school. I didn't want a labor job. I've done roofing in the summer. In Los Angeles, it gets about as hot as Africa. So it was hot. And I was like, I just don't want to roof anymore, not in the summertime, or not any time for that matter. I wanted to go to a trade school. I needed a tutor. I needed help. I wanted to work out and play basketball 3 times a week. That was the only way I could ever keep the weight off. I still have weight challenges. The reason why we have a challenge, we have weight loss related products, meal replacements, is because I was like the biggest guinea pig ever. And I'll show you guys some pictures of me when I got even heavier. I wanted to find a girlfriend. Still working on that one. Be happy, be happy, be successful. I guess I've checked that box. Make lots of money, get a car that's cool. I mean, come on, those are goals that we can all kind of share, right? How I was to achieve these goals, according to my mentor, he later became my stepfather, and he's my late stepfather, because he passed away due to cancer in late 2010. The way that I was to do that was real simple. I was going to listen to a series of audio tapes called Lead the Field by Earl Nightingale. I was going to read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and I was going to read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those 3 things were the only education 18-year-old Ryan ever had. I never paid attention. I couldn't pass a math test or arithmetic test. The irony is, I got kicked out of pretty much every class, every school I was ever into. I never could pass what's called the aptitude test in high school to go from the 9th grade to the 10th grade. Even though I was a senior in high school, I couldn't get past the 9th grade in terms of math. And so, it's kind of the irony of it is our company is right about to do its first $1 billion in revenue. And no math teacher ever said, Ryan, you can't count, you can't do calculus, you can't do algebra, but one day you'll count to $1 billion in revenue in your company, right? No one ever gave me that. No one ever gave me that. So go to the next slide. These are the books, and I collect the first edition rare ones. I gave this to Nick Sarnicola, my co-founder, and Ashley for their wedding. This is an original signed copy of Think and Grow, or How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, 1936. And so, these are the things I prize the most, and these are the things I want to pass on to my son, is, the literature, the things that teach you, right? The lessons I learned from Napoleon Hill. So the first step to getting that job was what? Getting new clothes, right? And so I had to get new clothes. And my stepfather made a deal with me. He wasn't my stepfather at the time, but he later became it. He said, if you can recite all the lessons from Think and Grow Rich, I will take you. Do you guys have Ross Dress for Lessons out here? No? It's like a discount store. You got what's it? Like a discount clothing store. Okay. So you guys get the gist. You know, I needed to get a suit and tie going, or not a suit and tie, but a tie, so I could go drop off my resume. So if you go to the next slide, please. This is me, ready to go on John. Now, just in case some of you were like, you know, Ryan, you always were cool. You're right. I always had it. I always had style. I always had swag. Look at the swag right? For those of you guys in the very back, you're like, what's this guy going to teach me about, you know, being cool? I don't know. This right here is a 1978 Toyota Corolla with wood paneling on the side. Now, what this car did have, well, let's just talk about what it didn't have. It didn't have a muffler. So when I'd be driving down the street, people just knew I was coming, like, right, loud. It didn't have air conditioning, so I always drive like this because I didn't want this polyester blend shirt to be, and it's Africa hot, right? I'm doing job interviews, Africa hot. Oh, man. And it sounds like I'm sweating profusely, right, as I'm driving. And I have this Gil blaster, because it didn't have a stereo, right? So I have this Gil blaster in the back seat. For those of you who can't tell, I got this long reach. So I would play this song, for those of you who know, it's called Notorious B.I.G.'s Juicy. And as I'm doing my job interview, I'm blasting this music, windows roll down, and it's like birthdays were the worst days, now we're sipping champagne when we're thirsty, right? You're darn right, I like the life I live because I went to negativity. Our landlord in that house that I showed you, landlord used to diss us, wonder why Christmas missed us, right? And I would just play this song over and over on my little Ghetto Blaster Discman, hit repeat over and over as I drove around. And to this day, that song, just for some reason, I don't know if you guys have songs like that, but this young, ambitious Ryan wearing Ross Dress for Less, pants that were a little big, or a lot big. I even put a pin in my pocket, just trying to I was trying to identity up. This is Ryan the success. You know, you saw me in my Sunday's best with my grandma. Now look, I'm a changed man. Now a lot of people wonder why our BMW program, right? All you're going to hear about in ViSalus, and some of you are like, I want to hear about all the statistics and facts. All the company is the people within it. That is it. And the values of those people. Right on. That is it. Everything that you've seen in the marketing materials and the videos are little tiny decisions that myself, my co-founders, my management team, the leadership team, the 5 stars, the ambassadors that are here with you today, they're decisions that we've made in order for us to be the highest, to hold ourselves to the highest standard we possibly can, and not just in our industry, in all industries, because we aspire to be the best in the world. And we have very humble beginnings, and hopefully we'll always maintain that humility, because I don't know if anything's more embarrassing than this picture right here. Right? I could have showed you the after picture, right? That's my before picture. I could have look at me, I got a jet. No, I'll show you the 1978 Toyota Corolla station wagon with wood paneling on the side. Isn't that bad? Isn't that cool? All right, go to the next slide, please. That was the next car that I got. Now, some people wonder why we have a black BMW program. And it was real simple. That was the car that made the difference for me. Now, I know some of you in the room here are saying, well, cars don't make a difference. Can you go back a slide, please? Yeah. Now, can you please go forward a slide? Yeah. Go back a slide. Go forward a slide. Go back a slide. Go forward a slide. Go back a slide. Go forward a slide. Go forward a slide. Thank you. Now, this is actually me, right? This is me cleaning those rims on that car. And the reason why we ship a Told You So license plate to every new BMW qualifier is because when I got that car, there were two types of people in my life. There were the people that were like, right on, Ryan, I'm proud of you. I can't believe it. You've come up. Because in my neighborhood, just getting a nice car is ultimately, you've arrived, right? I mean, we have victory laps. You guys know what a victory lap is? Right? I would go do victory laps in my old neighborhood in that car compared to my 78 Tony Corolla Stacy wagon. I was victory lapping this. Two things that, now the other type of person, which was more, were the people that were like, it's going to get repoed. You're never going to make the payment. You're just showing off, right? And I'm like, those are those types of people. I was so embarrassed by my old car that I would park like down the road for an appointment. Like people would be like, where'd you come from? I'd be like, I just walked. They're like, you walked 10 miles to get here? Like I'd park like behind the Starbucks, near the dumpster to do meetings with people in order to build my business as an entrepreneur. So this told you so became kind of like I was going to tell everybody who said that I wasn't going to amount to nothing, that they're trying to pull me back to the very neighborhood that I had and the existence I had. And then I also saw how people just treat you differently when you have, a nicer car and you have more presentable business. And, as an entrepreneur, we're presenting ourselves and our business at all times. So that was my first car. That's why we ship black BMWs out. That's why we make the payment. So that way our entrepreneurs don't have to worry about the payment over their head. And that's why we have a Told You So plate. Does that now explain the black BMW? You go to the next one. At the time, so wow, this was a picture I was going to get serious with you guys about. What's so funny? Is it the socks and sandals? You guys want to know why we were, after we have a transformation, I see, half you guys were here in the car talking, you're like, whatever. Now you guys like back to making fun of me? Okay, great. I got your attention. Now, you know why our new transformation vacation has a $5,000 shopping spree? Because the first thing you want to do when you lose weight is what? Buy new clothes. And you want to go get a stylist because those of us who put on the weight, sometimes we forget about, little things like socks or sandals. Just so you guys know, I know that my socks nicely blend into my legs there. I'm in tahini in this picture, okay? And look at that. There's just no definite, this is I'll go on this side. This is a triple XL shirt. This is size 40. Do you guys want to see another picture of me all sexy? Next slide. There we go, there. Look at that one. Oh yeah, see? Wait, there. That is a bonus line. I was sitting there like this whole thing. This is a whole thing of things, right? I'm not going to let it out too much, just kind of get the arch in the back, the arch going there. That right there, it's a little bit of weight, up to about 260 in this picture. I'll never forget because I was the guy at the pool that didn't take his shirt off ever, right? Ever. I would be like, it'd be summertime, people like, take off your shirt, Ryan. I'm like, no, I'm a little fair. I don't like the sun that much. I'm just going to hang out in the shade, and then they'd be like, get in the pool. And I'm like, I'll just go in the pool with my shirt on. And that was me, this shirt. I'm in Hawaii here. And what I realized was, I wasn't morbidly obese, I was heavy, but I was having chronic lower back issues. Any of you ever throw out your lower back in the room here? All right, I would throw out my lower back over and over and over to the point where I would have to literally crawl from this side of my apartment to the bathroom over here at this podium, and I would literally take 45 minutes to make the journey. That's how bad it was. And I went to the doctor, because at this age I'm about 25 or so, and I realized, man, at the path I'm on at 25, throwing out my back, having this self-image issue, I'm not going to have a happy 30. I'm not going to be happy at 35. I'm not going to be happy at 45. And so I had achieved a high level of financial success. By the time I was 4 years old, I'd sold my first company, Sky Pipeline, in a $25 million deal. So that's pretty good for a 24-year-old. But I didn't have the health. And so if you don't have health, what do you have? And at the same time, sometimes messengers come into your lives. As God would have it, my sister got cancer. And so I'm seeing she had rectal cancer, so she had to go through having a calorie bag, radiation treatment, chemotherapy. And this is the sister that raised me. Like, this is my mother almost. And so at 25 years old, I had an absolute messenger hit me in my sister's cancer, and me having these chronic lower back issues, and then thinking, I'm on that path, right? 10 years from now, I'm going to be where she is, or maybe worse, right? So I go to the doctor, I tell him about my back issues, and what do you think the doctor says? No, he said, get spinal fusion. That's what doctors say. They don't teach good nutrition and teach you how to maintain your weight, right? These doctors, they don't do that. They just fix broken problems. And so I'm an engineering-minded person. I'm a technologist by my formal training, and I've ran a number of tech companies, and I view ViSalus as heavily focused as a technology company. I asked the doctor what the risks were. He said, one, you might not ever jump again. And I'm like, well, I kind of want to play basketball. He saw the goal, right? Number two is he could have had a few drinks the night before and slipped his hand, and I could be paralyzed. Well, that's a risk, right? If his hand slipped, who knows, right? I don't know what that doctor drank the night before. Who knows, right? So I was like, is there another way? Because you could lose the 60 pounds. So to me, it was real simple, right? One of the expressions I have in our company, and I live by, mantra, is the path is all math. So what was the mathematics we need to get from there? This is my before picture, and this is my, if you go to the next slide, that's my mesh.com. That's my mesh.com profile picture. How did I go before to after? The answer was simple. I went out there, I hired a nutritionist. Then the nutritionist told me to buy all kinds of stuff. Then I hired a trainer, and he told me to buy all kinds of stuff. And pretty soon I wake up every morning and I take so many pills that I would get full. And then he said, okay, well, you're not eating the right foods, right? Because I work a lot. So then I went out there and I bought shakes. On my refrigerator, it stands about this tall, I recall. I had every different flavor shake because I got sick of all the different flavors of just having one shake over and over. And that's why we have mix-ins in our shake, is because I got sick of not having variety. And I'm a bachelor, guys, so if it requires a blender, I don't even know how to clean a blender, right? So I'll do it once, but that's about it. And it's going to sit there in the sink until somebody else cleans it for me. So it's got to distill in water, right? It's got to break up in water. And the shakes that I would try for the competition, not only did they taste like garbage, wheatgrass juice or whatever it's called, shot. Have you guys ever had that? That stuff's good for you. I love it, but I'm not going to drink that every day, and I'm certainly not going to drink that after I just brushed my teeth or something like that. It would not taste good. So I would try these products that were just terrible, and then they wouldn't break up. And so, you ever take a shake, and then you get this burst of just chalk in your mouth, right? So I was like, man, these products just stink. And so when Nick and Blake came to me with Dr. Seidman, the first mission I had and the rest of our team working on was to create a product that I could live on, because I've always struggled with weight. I still to this day, I fluctuate all the time. And, it's a simple reason. I'm not one of these people that is willing to sacrifice my ranch. That's where you laugh. Or my pizza. No, ranch is in ranch the dressing. My pizza, I love a pepperoni pizza, and if you get ranch near that, man, is it a delightful experience. Right? Well, God bless you if you're like, no, I have my own organic farm, and I'm going to travel with my organic farm everywhere I go, and I'm going to sit down and at each meal, I'm going to lay out all the vitamins I got to take, I'm going to put my flaxseed oil on this, I'm going to drink my wheat, I got my little juicer with me everywhere I go, and I grew these crops and all of this. If you got that type of time and energy, God bless you, but I need a simple, affordable solution that tastes good in order for me to maximize and maintain, a healthy lifestyle. Does that make sense to you guys? Like I said, there is a root that every decision this company makes. It is found within the personal experience or the ideal experience. The personal experience is myself, Nick, Blake, our management team, our leadership team saying, if we just did it like this, it'd be even better because they had experienced it, right? So some of the things on the product side of it, you'll hear about, I didn't create the science behind it. I found the greatest scientist, and I just said, it's got to taste good, right? Because people, the reason why we have a worldwide obesity epidemic right now is because people like food that tastes good, right? Pretty simple. And they also like it to be fast. right? And they also like it to be affordable. So what I said was it has to taste good, it has to be fast, and it has to be affordable. Does that make sense? And then the third item was it has to get you a result. And one of the most proud things of this Founders Tour is to see all the people, and if you go back a slide, please. I know you guys want to focus on the app, but I like to focus on to see all the people that were just like me. You know, I wasn't obese. The worldwide obesity epidemic faces 1.8 billion people and growing right now. 1.8 billion people are overweight, 400 million are obese around the globe, 232 million of them in the US and Canada. It's an epidemic that costs taxpayers of every country enormously. The costs and consequences of a person that is obese is astronomical. And I've got to see it on this Founders Tour at the family level. Right? I got to spend time with guys like you saw the testimony of Eric Rose, right? Earlier when Eric talked about having gone, I think at the time it was like 265, he's down 280 now. I got to see how his sister has like completely changed her own health because she saw her brother get his health in order. I got to see how his mother, I got to see how everybody is like rallying behind Eric and then taking their health seriously as well. Eric was infertile. Now he has a baby on the way. Eric had such terrible diabetes that that it was debilitating. Now he's without it at this present time. I mean, just to see the changes in people's lives. Eric is an extreme case. I've seen people that have lost 80 pounds, couples that have lost 100 pounds together. Imagine how much more fun it is in the bed for a couple that's lost 100 pounds. I've seen the self-esteem of teenage girls that, this one that's in the magazine, every time I'm there, she shows up to my events, and she has a pair of pants that we can't hold like this, and now she's got a great esteem, she looks great, right? Her whole life, she was obese. Imagine what that does to a young child, right? To grow up feeling that, right? And, it wasn't because she didn't want to lose the weight. Obviously she did. She needed something that was affordable, that tasted good, that matched her lifestyle, that was simple, that was quick, that got results. Does that make sense? All around the United States and Canada, as well as the other countries we're about to open, and I can't tell you which ones yet, but very soon, people are changing their lives. Millions of customers, hundreds of thousands of promoters are changing their lives and the lives of others because of our products, because of our mission. So if you go to the very last slide, let's skip this slide. Skip this slide. Okay, go to the very last slide. The National Success Train, thank you. Like I said, our company is right about to do its first $1 billion in revenue. It took us 8 years to get there. And I'm a long-term person. Like I'm 35 years old. I think about where I'll be when I'm 90. God willing, in our products, maybe I'll live to 120, 200. Right? So I try to think about, where will we be? And I have the pleasure of knowing a family out here in the Canada area that founded a beer company called Molson. Do you guys know that? I love beer, so yeah, thank you. And it was interesting because when I first met this family member, I was wondering, because I didn't know about Molson in America, and I was wondering why this person's so proud of their family name, right? They a little pep in their step. And the way I was raised, I didn't have pride in my family name because my family, now I obviously do because I've created my own. And isn't that what we all want, right? We all want to have pride in our family name, and we want our kids and our kids' kids to have pride in their family names, right? And I saw this, and it was such a beautiful experience because I saw this person that had some pride as a result of the entrepreneurship and what that family had done. And I got to thinking, my son Reagan, his name is Ryan Reagan Blair. My name is Ryan, so he's named after me. I wanted to hold myself accountable by naming him after me. And I wanted him to be accountable as well, right? Because, that's what we want. We want our kids to leave the world better than they found it. And I know a lot of rich kids that don't subscribe to that belief. And, I wanted my son to really subscribe to that. So I got to thinking, when I'm 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90, and my son walks into a room and he's proud of his family name, why is that, right? Think about that real quick with me. When your son or your daughter or your grandson or your grandchild walks in a room and they're like, why is this person so proud of their family name, right? For me, I almost want to be like, I want them to be like, I don't know why, I just know that they're successful and happy and I don't know why. And and it's kind of like, I wanted to walk into a room and then just say, well, what did your family do? I don't get it. And I want my son to say, this is my dream. I wanted to say, well, once upon a time, my daddy got together with a bunch of other families, and there was this thing called an obesity epidemic. And it was impacting the world. It was killing families. It was destroying society. It was costing taxpayers billions upon billions of dollars. And well, they got together and they created a solution for it. And as a result of that solution, well, we don't have that epidemic anymore, so you really wouldn't understand much about that. But that's why my family has this house, or we get to enjoy this university experience, or this log cabin, or whatever it is, because we help solve the worldwide obesity epidemic. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
If you kind of like saying, like, I couldn't tell you what the name of the family that solved the polio epidemic is, right? 50 years later, right? But 50 years ago, I bet you some people in the room that have been around a while could say, I know what that was like and who that was. But this generation here, that didn't affect our generation, right? Because that got solved. And there's a family name attached to who solved that, right? And I bet you if you met that family, you'd learn a lot about why they're so proud of their family name, I would guess, right? Just like I was telling you about the Molson family. So what I see ViSalus as is, ViSalus is all of our family names on the wall. It's not, it's not Blair Company, it's ViSalus. And it's an opportunity for all of our families to come together and do two things. One, take our own health seriously. If we do that, if everyone just did that, the world would be a better place. And then number two, if we can, serve others and helping others figure out how to have a healthy lifestyle themselves. And that's all we do as a company. It's not what we serve, although, intellectually you got to understand that this is the best, right? That we always make decisions that are for the best of our promoters, for the best of our customers. That the $10 million call center that we put together is so that way it answers your phone 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. And so that way we can be the best for you. You have to intellectually know that that's the truth. And then you have to just say, okay, now that I know what it is that we serve, right? Now let's focus on who we serve and why we serve them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Who we serve.
Wow.
We serve the people like Eric Rose. We serve the people like I was, right? That are having chronic back issues. They're compromising their life. That aren't happy. That have low self-esteem. That's who we serve. How many millions of people are out there right now that have yet to hear about ViSalus in the U.S. and Canada, let alone the globe, that are desperately looking for a solution? That's what we have here today. And then how do we serve them? We serve them through events like this. We serve them through challenge parties in your home. We serve them online. We serve them on Facebook. We serve them through our call center. And we serve them by teaching and educating them at our success trainings, of which we're going to have one here in Los Angeles coming up. And I got to tell you guys, I'm done here. As a company, we think globally, but we act locally. And the fact that you guys I didn't know how close. I flunked out of geography like every other class. I didn't know how close you guys are. You guys have home court advantage. Our worldwide headquarters is down the road from you guys. And and it's an amazing opportunity for you. We just built the mecca of all headquarters. 100% dedicated and focused on supporting our customers and promoters. And then we're going to have this big event in Los Angeles, March the 22nd to 24th. We're going to celebrate our first billionaire. Now, I got to tell you, there ain't no party like a $1 billion party. I never dreamed in a million years that I would one day count to $1 billion, ever. So I'm gonna bring it in only the style that you could, because I don't think the next billion is going to be as exciting as the first, right? The first took my entire career to get there, and on the path that we're on, the next will happen in a very short period of time. But I hope you come with me to Los Angeles in March to celebrate the first billion. If you can make it, I highly recommend you get there, along with all the other various reasons. I'm going to spend some time. So I'm done with whatever my ADD speech I just gave there. I'm going to spend some time. I'll take pictures with whoever wants one at the end. Sign books if you brought them out, and then I'm going to work with the regional directors, ambassadors, and national director, and presidential, and all the leadership on a game plan as to how we're going to take this company to the next level. So for the regional directors, I'm going to ask you to be back in here in about 15 minutes. I'm going to take pictures, but I'm going to ask Rick Linus to come back up here. Where is he at here? Because, oh, there you go. Rick, I didn't do justice talking about the National Success Training, and you being an old veteran in this industry, having been a part of our culture, can you and Elaine talk about how important the LST is for us, please? Please give it up for Rick.